that made other outside community more aware about deaf people. But then the second deaf president protest screwed people up because they were protesting that a deaf woman who was not part of deaf culture was elected as president. And the general population's confused and what the hell to talk about. A lot of people still don't understand that. She was Jane, woman that was first elected, then agreed to resign. She grew up oral. She learned sign language later in life. She grew up oral deaf, hard hearing, but she didn't learn sign language till later. Really the same as me. And deaf students didn't like that. Faculty felt that were upset about other things, just didn't like her. But anyway, the public learned a lot. First deaf president, now protests. The second deaf president protest. We have to get that straight. DPN 1 was a good thing, very informative for the public. DPN 2, confusing, hard for people to understand. But anyway, present deaf culture's changing because of things like cochlear implants. Cochlear implants are more accepted now, deaf culture, because many deaf adults are getting the implant. And so that's an example of things that are changing. The deaf clubs, it's very few now. That's another example of change. Technology is changing everything. Captaining, right? Hearing people, blah, 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 all over. Doesn't matter where you go, hearing people, phone, blah, 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 blah. Deaf people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the evidence right there, an example, perfect example. It was a good question, what you just asked. True, yes, for me, it's easier to help the children grow up to learn speaking wise. But remember, I remember when my friends said they wanted an implant when they were 18, and when the gains fell. And the doctor said no, they said it's too risky, the risk is way too high for you. It's better and easier for children to get one, but parents, when they ask the doctors, they go, it could be risky, but they don't tell them that it could be risky, it could actually cause death and things like that. And one boy was walking, had 2 implants, one on each side, and I was like, what? And it's amazing technology, one on either side. I was like, I mean, just because the risk itself of the surgery is, I mean, one is fine, you know what I mean? Just having implanted both sides, just, it could be even riskier. It's just sad. And Val says one for each ear, maybe fixing both ears. But I thought that was like amazing, 2 years. So it's just, yeah.
I did answer your question, I don't know. But let me just say, my perspective, deaf culture, okay, as far as me being accepted into, quote, deaf culture, hasn't happened yet. It was partly my choice. I adopted that involved with deaf community. But it's still the same thing. If I go to deaf events and people are deaf, but I joined a group with hard hearing. Now, audiology, auditory-wise, I'm more deaf than most deaf people. Now have 110 dB hearing loss. Only measured to about 120, 140. So many people that go deaf have better hearing on the audiogram than I did, but not deaf culture, or not. So the culture itself is changing, but as far as me being accepted into the deaf culture, that hasn't changed too much. A little bit maybe, because I've been very involved with deaf professional organizations working with persons deaf programs. I've been president of